Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for a very exciting Scenic Group webinar. First and foremost, I hope you're all doing well and staying safe and healthy. My name is Anna. I'm an Industry Relations Manager here at CLIA, and I'm going to just quickly go through some housekeeping before introducing our presenter. This webinar will run about 45 minutes with time for questions at the end. Please feel free to type your questions into the questions module of the webinar, and we'll get to them at the conclusion of the presentation. This webinar is being recorded and will be posted on CLIA's YouTube channel, which is CLIA Global. And with that, it is my pleasure to introduce our presenter, Mark Junette. International travel started at 8 years old for our presenter, and those early experiences ignited a true passion in life to help others achieve the same. As a lifelong traveler and professional in the industry for the last 2 decades, Mark has a lust to see the world and encourages others to take part, be they travelers, tourists, or simply curious souls wanting to explore and connect with other cultures. Mark is the Regional Sales Director for the West for the Scenic Group and will be our host for this webinar. His style of presenting is a mix of detailed information, humor, sales-focused strategies, and excitement. So with that, take it away, Mark.
Well, Anna, thank you so much. And thank you, CLIA, and all the folks involved to have us here today. Hey, for those joining us, thanks for investing time together to come learn about the Scenic Group, what's going on, the new stuff, as well as what's coming up for future seasons to come along. We're all of us in the industry, we're just continuing to stay positive. Some great things are happening, and good new business is starting to pop through, something we're calling green shoots in our organization. And it's great to see a lot of tried and true supporters out there. And it's great to have some of the folks that maybe not too familiar with this to come along and learn about the Scenic Group overall. So Anna, thanks for that introduction. It's true. At 8 years old, we did the classic family station wagon trip from Central California up to British Columbia. And I took my first international flight at 14 years old on a little airline called Pan Am. So I'm afraid that might date myself. At the same time, it just triggered this passion to really go see the world. I think it just makes us that much better. It certainly educates us, and it brings us a little closer together. So this is me. This is Mark Junette. I am the Regional Sales Director out here in the West. Been with Scenic since we came into this U.S. business region for 6 years ago. We started around late 2013, 2014 or so. I've been very fortunate to go off on a lot of our different ships. So be it Scenic or Emerald or Eclipse, you name it, we get to go out and experience the product and of course come back and tell you all the great, amazing things and get you wowed so you can then tell your guests and tell your clients, get them to go with us. So today I figured, a lot of you are probably somewhat familiar with Scenic. Some of you have never heard of it before, and that's okay. That's what we're here for. So I want to give you a little bit of a Scenic backstory. And with the different brands, I think it's important to kind of let you know where those are positioned in the market, different clientele and different demographics that certainly tuck into those. And I want to share some resources and things that we've updated recently. It's going to make it even easier for you to book Scenic or Emerald and come along with us, maybe bring groups or whatever it might be that your particular business specializes in. And of course, looking into next season and beyond, there's some terrific new itineraries, updates to the ships, little things that we're tweaking here and there to kind of bring that experience even that much more so that you really get wowed. Since Anna already disclosed to you, I'm a bit of a travel geek. I also love my travel quotes. So this one from Abin Dabada is one of my favorites. Traveling leaves you speechless and turns you into a storyteller. Isn't that the truth? You think about the last international trip that you were able to take yourself. And at first, maybe you're a little bit trepidatious, but you had this excitement and anticipation. And once you got there, you met some wonderful people or tasted some incredible cuisine or whatever it might have been that triggered your passion. And you came back and told all those stories to kind of, fill in whatever you posted on your social media. So this is one of my favorite quotes about storytelling. And I should now transition over and tell you about our story at Scenic. So for those that don't know, we started 34 years ago as a luxury tour operator in just Australia. This is Glenn and Karen Maroney. They're our founders and owners. And currently they still have their thumb on the pulse. They're very much involved in the business. Glenn's the visionary. Karen's the one behind the scenes that really gets everything executed so well and makes us look so good. And part of Scenic overall is innovations. So here's a simple one on the screen of Glenn bringing over the concept of a motor coach with 2 entrances and exits. And this was all for guest experience. To get them off the coach that much faster, into the destination that much longer, back on the coach that much quicker to get to that next spot and really enjoy it. Nothing that anyone had seen at the time, 30-some years ago, but it was quickly picked up and, of course, copied by friendly competitors. But this is just kind of our humble beginnings. And, of course, as a tour operator, we've grown into all 7 continents now. And with that, other brands come along with being a big tour operator that many people have never heard of. Part of that is someone convinced Glenn at some point we should really get into the river cruise business. So after chartering a couple of competitors, we brought our guests back, we quizzed them, we surveyed them, what they liked, what they didn't like, what they wanted included and not included. And in 2008, Glenn went to the shipbuilders and built 2 custom-built ships. Now, he could have easily went and got cookie cutter design from what everyone else was doing, but there was a key feature, again, being a little more innovative and a little more cutting edge, and that was balconies. And so 84% of the Scenic spaceships are true balconies. So we built 2 custom-built ships in 2008 and launched them. And now here we are in 2020, and now we have 26 ships under our Scenic Group umbrella, making up Scenic, Emerald, and Eclipse, and more to come. I'll share with you here in a little bit. Along the way, we've been very humbled and honored with lots of awards, different kudos that thank you to you and to travelers alike, from Cruise Critic, Magellan Awards, the different trade organizations that embrace us, and this most recently was a Cruise Critic Award for Scenic Eclipse as the best new luxury ship, and then Scenic River for the best cruise line for enrichment. And this is something similar to the best shore excursions and other awards we've got over the past years. Usually around this time, the question I get in a lot of trainings is, well, you have Emerald and you have Scenic, what's the difference? And here, take a screenshot if you want, or email me and contact me later. I can send this to you as well, but this is the cheat sheet, right? So Emerald is that 4-star deluxe, nicely inclusive river cruise line. The design is very modern, 182 passengers at the most. Most of the ships are less than that, depending on the rivers. And including those innovations, probably the big selling point with Emerald, besides value, is this pool, cinema, and just the way we kind of travel with Emerald differently. And the next notch up would be Scenic, 5-star, truly the most all-inclusive. And I know my friendly competitors, maybe a couple on the line, might say, well, we've got more than you got. But frankly, when you start looking at the nuts and bolts and just laying it out on the comparison chart, you'll see that Scenic truly is the most all-inclusive, certainly not the most expensive. And the design is a little more contemporary. At the max, it's 169 passengers, usually on those ships around 150 or so on average. And then shorter or different types of rivers will have even less, depending on the design of those ships, or south of France, for example, or Douro. The inclusions that Scenic has is really the wow factor for that brand. And it's usually easier to say what's not included on Scenic than what is included. So like on Emerald, you'll have beer and wine, lunch and dinner, then there's drink packages, there's an excursion at every port, and then there's discover more optionals that guests can purchase. For Scenic, it's truly all included. The only thing that a guest would ever want to maybe add on would be a gift shop or salon service. That's it. So let's talk about Emerald a little bit. For the launch since 2014, this line has got amazing awards, and probably the most important one is value. Now, as you're talking to your clients, value might not be the sexiest word to use in how you describe or even how you kind of position Emerald, but you are a traveler, and I'm a traveler, and we all like the most bang for our buck. So for 5 years in a row now, from Cruise Critic editors, they've awarded us the best river cruise line for value. And frankly, isn't that what it's all about, right? You want to go somewhere, you want to certainly stretch those travel dollars, and why not choose a line that helps you tuck right into that? So for Emerald, the fleet, we had a couple of ships built in 14, and then a couple more in 15, added 3 more in 17, and just this last year we added the Emerald Harmony, and there's going to be yet another ship coming that we announced not too long ago on the Rhine-Main-Danube itineraries. I thought I'd just run a quick video to kind of show some pretty pictures of how Emerald kind of is positioned and how we travel. Do note, because of the webinar service, you're not going to maybe get every video or every narration. These videos are certainly available later, and I can send you links, but have a look.
Emerald waterways represent a new chapter in the world of river cruising. Since our debut in 2014, we've modernized the river cruise experience by building the newest ship, designing insightful itineraries with a fully inclusive service, which we call exceptional emerald value. Our river cruises offer you a unique, affordable, and leisurely stay, which has led to us being awarded Best River Cruise Liner Value by Our deluxe fleet of revolutionary starships promise contemporary comfort and unique onboard innovation, while our generous, fully inclusive offering combines affordability, great dining, exceptional service, and immersive itineraries across the world. We take great pride in ensuring every journey is perfectly planned, and each guest enjoys the relaxing river cruising experience.
That's kind of what we like to do with our Emerald guests. And you'll notice that exceptional Emerald value is one of the pillars, right? So to color that up for you a little bit, what does that exactly mean for your clients, for our future guests? Well, it means that they get Emerald Plus. Now, some other river cruise lines have your basic walking tour or excursion. With Emerald at every port, you're going to have that and then some included in the cruise rate. Here's another one. Right out of the gate, all tips and gratuities are included. So your client's not going to have to reach in their purse or their wallet every time they want to have a cocktail, or necessarily want to do something on shore where they have to tip a local guide, or they want that meal or that drink. It's all taken care of for them. Airport transfers, no matter how they book their air, is included. Certainly that's day of embarkation, disembarkation, or if they do pre and post, just use our hotels, and that's in there as well. And everything from the guides that we hire to our cruise directors, you know, the staff really deserve the credit, because they're the ones that certainly deliver an amazing experience for the guests. And then simple things, Wi-Fi on board, everyone wants to stay connected, you know, do their posts, make sure the families know that they're in good hands and they're having a great time. And then with Emerald, should they want to add more to their shore experience, we have some optionals, usually about 4 or 5 on a week-long cruise available to them that you can actually pre-book, and that makes them commissionable. And that's kind of a nice thing to have. And then we're also realizing that our guests, the 60-year-old of today is not the 60-year-old of yesterday, so they want to be more active. So we include more things that cater to that, be it hiking or biking and what have you. And we've got some regular bikes on board for folks to be able to use, maybe 20, 25 on board typically, depending on the itinerary. And as for Emerald Plus, well, again, to take that up a notch, these aren't just basic walking tours. These are included excursions that the guests can enjoy, from the guided tour of Milk Abbey there, glass blowing demonstrations, maybe learn how to bake a cake, or doing everything from garden or wineries, you name it. We've got different things that cater to that destination to really bring it to life. So if you're wondering kind of where Emerald cruises and kind of where we're going to, I thought it was important for you to know that there's some popular itineraries out of the U.S. market that cater to the timing and the vacation comfort that the U.S. traveler typically looks for. Many of you that are already selling a lot of river cruise probably aren't too surprised by this list. The Danube Delights, or the Danube Delights adding that Prague extension, is the most popular. For folks that have a couple of weeks to really enjoy, then the Splendors of Europe, that 15-day Amsterdam to Budapest, is probably the most popular 2-week program. And then we have other itineraries where people have come over from either other lines, or they've been there, done that, and they want to kind of try something a little bit off the beaten path. So that's where we have south of France or Douro. A lot of our guests will do a back-to-back with a couple of the 8-day cruises. And then we have things like the seasonal cruises, Holland, Belgium. And then when we get over to Mekong, Irrawaddy, or we charter in Russia, in Egypt, and Jordan. So lots of choices under the Emerald brand to kind of look at and kind of cater to. Then to switch gears a little bit, and we're going to do that a couple times during this training, is Emerald Yachts. Now, wait a minute, Emerald Yachts. You've just got used to Emerald Waterways, and that's Emerald Waterways. What's up with this Emerald Yacht? So you may have seen in the trade press in February, we announced the Emerald Azura. So this is our Emerald Yacht ship currently being built. It's 100 passengers, and it's going to be a terrific experience for guests. They kind of want to come up a level as far as going out and exploring the Mediterranean, Adriatic, you name it. So as some of the pictures flip through here, you can kind of get an idea of what the Emerald Yacht is going to look like, kind of the style. If you are noticing a lot of similarities to the Emerald Waterways starships, you're going to see that it's very much maybe like a W hotel. So lots of modern design, lots of use of glass and mirrors, and just this clean, gorgeous built ship. Lots of different features are going to be on the Emerald Azura, and it's going to be able to get into ports that many big cruise ships can't ever think or even hope to get to because of the size of the ship. So she's only about 350 feet long by maybe 40, 50 feet wide. And there's a lot of ports that we'll certainly go to that are tried and true that everybody wants to go and check out. But there's also going to be some ports that will be these fun, wow surprises that folks never even thought about that will probably bring back a lot of those storytelling charms. So the inaugural cruise will be Turkey and Greece, starting ending in Athens. And then here's a cruise map of some of the other destinations. We'll do the Barcelona to Rome for the Western Med, of course, with the Adriatic up and down and through from Slovenia, Croatia, Albania, and then working our way down into Greece on the Eastern Med. And then during the summer months, we'll get over to Greece and Turkey. In the winter months, you'll see us down in the Red Sea as well. So just a terrific new type of experience. Certainly nothing like it in those areas at this size, at the fresh innovations it's going to bring along. It's going to be just a terrific option for you to look at for folks looking to travel to any of these destinations. So Emerald Yachts, we're excited. Certainly emeraldwaterways.com, where you can go to Emerald Yacht Cruises, and certainly email me as well, get you in touch with your regional sales director, wherever you might be, so you can learn more. And then to switch gears on you one more time, we're going to go from Emerald Waterways, Emerald Yachts, now to Scenic Luxury River Cruise, or take the scenic route. So there's a nice close-up of our scenic spaceship. You know, people sometimes giggle when we say call them spaceships, but because we're one of the more recent fleets on the rivers, and we're able to use those kind of custom-built designs that Glenn originally had, we have more space, simply, in the public areas and suites. So that's part of the reason we call them the spaceship. Now, what comes along with scenic? Well, to be expected will be amazing suites with fine decor. We have 5 different restaurant venues for guests to enjoy, 5 on a river cruise ship, hinting towards that space. Everybody gets a butler, no matter what suite they've chosen to travel in. And then on the shore is where I really think we shine. And that's bringing that destination to life. And we do it a number of different ways, from our scenic and rich to the tailor-made, and always wrapping that around to this nth degree of service level. So when we say scenic is truly all-inclusive, to kind of share with you what that means on board, well, besides the ship itself and the balconies and the butlers, it's beverages all day. It's all the different types of dining venues they could enjoy, from something a little more relaxed to very fine dining. Again, our cruise directors and entertainment and local guides that we hire are the best. It's kind of nice because actually they fight to work for Scenic for a couple of reasons. Because we compensate handsomely, and then we also pay on time. And that really, when you're an independent contractor, as many of you know, that's critical to your livelihood and to getting out there and enjoying the world. With Scenic, we pick it up a notch. So instead of regular bikes, we have e-bikes. These electric assist bicycles have this great button on it. So if you have an incline or a longer ride, it can do some of the work for you. And of course, Wi-Fi and laundry, a lot of the things that folks would kind of might be surprised about that are included. As I teased about on shore, you know, I said that there's like a number of different ways that we bring those to life from our Scenic and Rich programs. There's usually one or sometimes a couple of these, depending on the length of the itinerary included. Free choice, that's where they can kind of pick and choose as they wish, kind of depending on what they want to do that day or their passions or interests. And then we used to have a tailor-made device that we supply, but found that most people are most comfortable with their own devices, their own phones. So we've converted that down to a tailor-made app and even made it more powerful and loaded up more information on it. And very much like Emerald, airport transfers included, tips and gratuities are included, and our river cruise coverage as well for both brands. So here's what your guests will experience and should expect on a scenic luxury river cruise. Isn't that something? Just every image and every picture you see, there's something you kind of zero in on. So hopefully your guests would do the same. They'd see a lot of wow factors, see themselves in those destinations, enjoying a glass of champagne off their balcony, watching the world go by, whatever it might be. And again, these videos are available for you afterwards, send you the links, whatever you might need to help support your business. So on board, some of those innovations we talked about already were the balcony. So from an interior shot, to enjoy all the extra square footage and those what we call sun lounges, there's the solarium, there's an open air balcony, just a push of a button, that wall of windows collapses to one side. They can raise and lower that outside window, just like your car window, and enjoy that fresh air coming through, or watch the locals, whatever it might be. In this case, one of our guests having, of course, a nice top off of her champagne there. Another build out on the most recent ships, Jasper, Opal, and Amber, is the Vitality Pool. This is a great little splash combo jacuzzi pool at the top deck of those three ships. I like to say it fits about 12 people or 8 Americans. Being a big guy myself, I can say that. But it's a nice feature to add on to the ship so that folks can get that kind of, because wherever they go on vacation, we want them to have that wow factor and that sense of wonder, but also have that, and this is one of the ways that we lead to that. A couple of new items that you may have seen coming up for this season and beyond for different seasons here in the future. We renovated 8 of our ships this last season along the Rhine, Main, and Danube to match some of the renovations we had done for our ships in France. So we actually reduced capacity down to 80 suites for a lot of the ships. We added a 520 square foot Royal Owner Suite. And then we also increased the size of our gym, added more massage services. And we also built out the Salt Therapy Lounge. It's a cool place that has like 3 lounge chairs. People come and go as they wish. And it's encased or surrounded by this pink Himalayan salt bricks that when you're in there for 20, 30 minutes, just taking nice deep breaths and relaxing, it actually gives you this curative effects, kind of a microclimate that helps with respiratory, with breathing, and just if nothing else, the overall relaxation factor. Another thing we announced just this last year is from here on out, we're going to be managing our own ships for basically hiring all the staff. In the past, we had hired maybe a couple, 3 third-party companies that specialized in maybe culinary or certain ship services, but now there are all our own teams, which we feel is going to even add more to the service levels of what we already have. And if you're curious where Scenic cruises, well, being around a little bit longer than Emerald, we've got more ships and more destinations. And if you look at the timeline along the bottom, we've kept pace with our guest demands and where they want to go next. And then, of course, built out certain rivers where the demand was even higher. But it's nice to know that there's certainly a breadth of itineraries for you to introduce your clients to, or bring them back and have them go with us again, somewhere different, somewhere new that will continue making them have that wow factor and that sense of wonder with Scenic. A couple other updates you may not be familiar with is National Geographic had chosen Scenic as their river cruise of choice, which is a very nice kudo. At the same time, we increased commission for this season. So if you have those folks that are really into getting that museum experience or in-depth talks or photography experience, we've got about 20 itineraries that cater to the National Geographic membership and folks that just really want that deeper dive on the different areas they might travel to. We also announced a couple of new itineraries and a couple of new features on our ships coming up. So we've got this 12-day Taste of Southern France or Flavors of Bordeaux, which are our culinary themed cruises, certainly in those destinations, as you're very well aware, tuck right into someone that has a foodie vibe or wants to go out and enjoy a wino experience. I got my hand raised right now because that would be myself. I also like this 5-day Taste of Imperial Europe. To me, this is kind of a tester cruise, right? So if you have those guests that have been doing big ocean cruises, or even those guests that say, I'm not a big cruise fan, well, here's a nice short 5-dayer that they go from Vienna to Budapest, and they actually enjoy a couple of days in each of the different ports. And it's a nice way to either add a back-to-back to another cruise they're going on, or a little surf and turf, right? They can do a short cruise with us and then a tour with us as well. So a couple of things to look at there. And then a 4-day city stay in Bruges that we added. And there's a number of these too that we've added in the new itineraries. We got London, Paris, there's a bunch of them. So when you do book with us, typically you look at the different port cities, you're gonna find some different city stays. Bruges is one of those ones that probably has been underappreciated for so long, but as many of you probably nodding your head right now, it's a terrific destination to really excite your clients for. And then how Scenic do it on shore. Again, I think this is our biggest strength after you get the ship and the service from our team. And there's a number of different ways we highlight those destinations. Our Scenic Free Choice is simply a choice of excursions included at every single port. And sometimes there's 2, and sometimes there's even up to 6 for folks to kind of choose from. These are designed to cater right into what their interests are. So if they're winos like me, I'm there. If they are more a culture vulture and they want to get into every cathedral and catacomb, then we've got that available. Sometimes it's active excursions. So if they're biking and hiking, again, all included, all part of their rate and all at expert level. And then the tailor-made app, well, this functions 3 different ways, really. On board, as they're cruising along, they might see a castle come along and wonder, well, I wonder who lived there and who loved there. And typically there's going to be they can press on their app and get a couple minutes of commentary. And the app, since it's connected to the device in their headset, it's not going to interrupt anyone around them. They can be out on their balcony or up on the sun deck by that Vitality pool, and they can still have some wonderful about the local destination. Another way this connects is to the local guides. And since it's wireless and they could be 50 feet away and they're hearing crystal clear in their ear the commentary and the history and all the different things. So they might be looking at a fresco in this corner of the cathedral, the tour guides in the other corner, but they're hearing them just fine and still getting all the wonderful information. And one of my favorites is the city guide. So in each city we go to, we have preloaded, I think, 120 different commentary lists. Because this is a GPS triggered app, they can be walking along and get a little boop in their ear, and that alerts them to the fact that they're walking past a point of interest that they might be interested in and be able to press the commentary, learn about what's happening. And the best part is they never get lost. And then we have Scenic Enrich. So again, this is the 3rd way we bring those destinations to the clients and really wow them. These are going to be extra special excursions. So maybe we negotiate with locals or government, sometimes royalty, to bring them things like the Palais Liechtenstein in Vienna, where they have a private concert and ballet performance for just Scenic guests. So instead of 600 or 800 people in one big auditorium, it's just us. And it's one of those times when all motor coaches that we have traveling along with us are filled, usually the entire ship wants to go off and enjoy some of these. So again, on each itinerary, there's at least one, if not more, depending on the duration and the destination, that are part of our Scenic Enrich programs. Over in Salzburg, we'll do the Sound of Music experience, or in Oktoberfest in Freudenberg, always Oktoberfest year-round, because no matter when you're traveling over there, you want to have the Oktoberfest experience, we've got it for them. And then finally, to switch to our 6-star. So we went from 4-star Deluxe Emerald, 5-star, most all-inclusive Scenic, to now the 6-star, the Scenic Eclipse. This is our discovery yacht. And Glenn's vision was to build a billionaire's yacht for those of us who aren't billionaires yet. Pretty amazing. You know, he wanted to have the ship as much of a wow factor, but also the different toys and things we use to get him into those itineraries and just see some sites that others maybe never get a chance to see based on how they can access it. You know, along the way, we got an amazing godmother with Dame Helen Mirren. Certainly fits the Eclipse very, very well. Was classy and cool as far as she's considered. And she had some pretty amazing things to say about her experience on the Eclipse. And of course, Forbes, Robb Report, and our own trade press picked up lots of different press. Good things you can use, again, to reassure your clients of going and checking us out. I thought it would be nice to kind of show you where eclipses come from and also kind of where we're going with some new itineraries. So, it's nice to see, you know, computer-generated images when ships are being built or what we expect it to be eventually. But another thing to show you the real deal, her maiden season, getting out there to these different itineraries and showing off some just terrific destinations in this style that guests can just come back to. So they go out and have their soft adventures, or maybe they go enjoy one of the helicopters. We have 2 7-person helicopters on board, a 7-person submarine. And then there's all the different finery, of course, that we have included. So 10 different restaurant venues, 6 different lounges, and she only carries 228 passengers. So when it comes to service levels, it's nearly a 1-for-1 guest to crew ratio. And then, of course, throughout their suites, everyone has a veranda suite on up. So it starts at 345 square feet up to over 2,200 square feet for the owner's penthouse. And as you see some of the images of the different areas of the ship and the different destinations and the different toys, it's kind of nice to understand that now we know why we call it a 6-star experience, with everything that's included and everything that's there available for them to take part in. Of course, things like the salon, and the sub, and the helicopter are a little extra, but they were not meant to necessarily be profit centers. Glenn wanted to design this to have them available to guests to, again, all about that destination. Very much like back in our beginnings of innovating motor coaches so people will get into the destinations that much longer, very much to have those toys available on the Eclipse for folks to get off the beaten path or to go to those destinations where others maybe have never been able to get to. So lots of favorite areas of mine here on the Eclipse. Just a huge wow factor. Lots of great video content available to you too to help promote the experience to clients. And by the way, never book out of your own pocketbook, right? So you'd be amazed. I've got wonderful stories from partners who have booked postal workers, teachers, you name it. So it's not just the 5%ers on up that can afford the eclipse. You'd be surprised at how many folks, especially going to a destination like, say, Antarctica, they say, well, we're going to do it. We're going to do it right and invest in an amazing ship like this to do it with. So why not? All right, so where are we going with the eclipse? Well, we started this last year, and we worked our way up and down the globe from the Arctic down to the Antarctica. The majority of the itineraries, not a majority, but maybe a fair percentage of the itineraries are Antarctica, as you can see from the map. But we're going to some new destinations in upcoming seasons and some different locations. So we just announced our 22-23 collection, 17 new departures and itineraries, 6 of those in the Med, Europe, and Arctic. It's live now, and for 23, we're doing pre-registration. We'll take a partial deposit, and then once the dates and rates are announced, they can either choose to apply that or refund it. But why would you want to do that? And this just in, 5 more Eclipse Discovery yachts are in the works. So you may have seen in the press release just this last month or so what we're doing in our Croatia shipyard that we have majority share ownership in. And of course, with that, we've got our second Eclipse yacht coming, and then many more right after that. That's going to mean a tremendous amount of future business for all of us. And I hope you certainly support us and get behind letting folks know about the Eclipse. Something unique, 228 passengers, 6-star experience, amazing. So some of the destinations besides Antarctica that I thought you should know about and share is certainly we have all those covered very well, up to Iceland and Greenland, down the West Coast. So I'm out here in Southern California. So for our West Coasters, we've got some terrific itineraries down into South America, Central America. And of course, she starts doing her loop throughout. The new itineraries coming up, a couple to highlight would be the Franz Josef Adventure, Tromsø to Tromsø. Go up and circumnavigate through Norway, up in the Franz Josef land, all the way through back to Tromsø. So it's a off the beaten path, a little bit different and unique, yet something in demand and folks are asking for. Another one is Lofoten Islands and Norwegian fjords. Again, starting at Tromsø, but then we'll end in Copenhagen. And of course, along the way, we visit some of the ports that folks might be familiar with. And then there's these wonderful ports that they've never heard of. They'll go to and come back with some terrific stories from the history and the people, cuisine, you name it. And of course, most folks know that whitewashed in blue. That's where we're at, the Mediterranean. Of course, that is an area that is in huge demand. And to travel along on something as gorgeous as the Eclipse is going to be a real experience, real eye-opener. So the Greek islands, with Malta is one of them, from Athens to Valletta, where we are registered. That's going to be a great one, as well as Andalusian coasts. So we'll start in Valletta and end in Lisbon. Of course, all throughout the way, we'll touch on some terrific destinations through Italy and Spain, even touching in Tangier and then up into Portugal. So there's a number of support features we've got for you. We've got a terrific team of RSDs, what we call regional sales directors like myself, at your beck and call for your groups, your charters, FITs, whatever you're looking for. On our websites, on both emeraldwaterways.com as well as scenicusa.com, we have our agent portal there, making it easier for you to book. Number one is ExpressBook. It's our 24-hour, 7-day-a-week online booking engine. I've got great feedback from partners saying, after a little bit of a learning curve, it's very intuitive, it's very easy to navigate. When you're looking up yield, you're looking for space, you're looking for promotions, it's there for you. On the agent portal as well is a bunch of other support from marketing, PDFs, video links, comparison chart, which I'll show you a picture of that here in a little bit. And I want to zero in on the Agent Academy. So on both brands, on the Agent Academy, not only when you go through that will you learn more about the brands, a deeper dive, if you will, but the good news is you get the CLIA credit. So here we are with our CLIA partner and sharing what we're doing with and for our advisors out there. When you're going through the different Agent Academy sections, these are going to give you CLIA credits for your continued education. And I think it's terrific, and it's always smart to keep brushed up and sharpen your saw on what's the latest with the industry or the different brands that you're out there and promoting. And it just reassures you that partnering with CLIA also kind of helps you out with your continued education. So keep up on that. And then the comparison chart I teased you about is right here. This is not us that created this. It's a third-party partner, River Cruise Advisor. And there might be a couple things here and there that get updated from time to time, but it's a simple snapshot of all the companies out there, what they include, what they don't include. Many of my best partners actually take this and use it with their guests to let them decide what's important to them, and literally walks them right into the brand that fits. And we hope with Scenic and or Emerald, that's one of us, no matter what. And that's kind of an advantage the Scenic Group has, if you think about it. So we've got our touring, we've got 2 different river cruise brands that cater towards different demographics, and now we have 2 different types of yacht experiences, again, catering to the 4-star or the 6-star type of experience. And we haven't forgot about you continuing. We like to support you. We like to give you different accolades and incentives, and one of them is automatic. So you are automatically enrolled in Scenic or Emerald Waterway rewards when you book with either one of our brands, and it's very much like credit card points. So as you book more, you get more points, and then you get to choose how you decide where you want to use those points towards different merchandise, you name it. And there's a couple of examples of what you would get when you book the different itineraries. Thought it was good to kind of share with you some of the current offers. For Emerald, we've got a fly free or a $2,000 per couple savings on some select itineraries. For the Splendors of Europe, that's that awesome #1 2-week itinerary. We've got some 2-for-1 extended stays, either in Prague or Paris. So that's nice to have a little add-on to those. And then for Scenic, well, it's kind of tough with Scenic sometimes, because when you're truly the most all-inclusive, you know, what can you add on to make it that much more special? And a lot of our promotions are wrapped around air deals, which is great, because you got to get to Europe somehow. It's a long swim, so we're going to include free round-trip economy air sometimes. On longer itineraries, it might even go up to premium economy air or beyond, even some great rates on business class air. Some itineraries would have a single supplement offers. And then even folks that want to pay in full, they can also take advantage of some nice savings there. And then for Eclipse, the 6-star, all-inclusive, everything you'd want there. And then what? Well, then you add the different air specials, and depending on the level of the guest, where they want to go and how they want to fly to those destinations, we've got some nice air specials that tuck right into their wants. And we didn't forget about CLIA, right? So maybe Anna and the gang, or maybe Charlie or one of those guys maybe negotiated this, but for new bookings from today on through July 7th, because you're part of CLIA and because we're having this great information session, here's a code for you to scribble down that will have you kind of be a hero to your clients, because you're going to bring them $150 savings per person. I like to call it $300 per couple, or $250 per person on Eclipse, say $500 a couple. Most folks booking are couples or partnered up, what have you. And then for Emerald, it's $125 per person, or $250 a couple when you book new bookings with us through July 7th. So that's a nice incentive to have for the guests. It's combinable with everything except groups. So whatever other offers might be out there, this is a nice extra bonus that you, their travel professional, can bring them. So with that, I certainly thank you for taking the time to invest in learning about the different brands under the Scenic Group, be it Emerald Waterways, Emerald Yacht Cruises, Scenic Luxury River Cruises, or Scenic Eclipse. And Anna, I'm guessing by now you might have some questions coming along. There's my contact information for either folks that are too embarrassed to ask in front of everybody or have things that pop up later. And I'll certainly be happy to get you in touch with your regional sales director in the area, wherever you might be living. So what do you got, Anna, as far as Q&A?
Sure, we do have some questions coming in. This one is from Marie, who is wondering what the average age range on the cruises is.
Oh, that's a great question, Marie. You know, I think back in the day, there were a lot of folks that thought it was no one but, 70 and 80-year-olds. I'll be honest, I've seen an 80-year-old Australian on board that's put a 60-year-old American to shame on the dance floor. and actually, that's something I'll touch on here in a second. But on average age, I would say, 55 up and active. So, it's not your, dare I say, grandfather's cruise back from a couple decades ago. As you saw maybe through some of the itineraries, they're as active or relaxed as they want to be. So each guest can kind of choose, what they want to do. Personally, that's kind of what I do. I'll go, full on a couple of days, and then I'll take kind of a half day of just chilling out, and that's available to them. But what's nice is I'm going to transition over from age to nationalities. We've got 5 main nationalities that travel along with us. It's going to be Aussies and Kiwis, Americans, Canadians, and Brits. The nice thing is there's mostly a common language there. And sometimes it's great because you'll meet a fellow traveler, happens to be from Sydney, for example, and you'll create a friend for life. And it's kind of nice to have that international experience on board. And what do you do there, and how does it go there, and what's your government like, or whatever the conversation might be. But you're also sharing experiences in that new destination for the both of you. So that kind of also enhances the experience. What else you got, Anna?
Sure. We also have some people wondering what the dress code is on board.
Yeah, that comes up from time to time. The models in some of those videos make it sure look a little fancy for some folks. It's country club casual. I take one sport coat typically. Thankfully, I have not taken the noose, also known as a tie, with me anymore. Again, this is one of those areas where during the day out on excursions, during the summer months, I'm more in my Columbia shorts, a comfortable shirt, tennis shoes kind of thing. Then I'm coming back and changing for dinner, and I'm putting on my a nicer polo shirt or long sleeve shirt and my dress pants type of thing, or my chinos. So it's a country club casual, and I think for the most part, guests are going to look at that and understand, especially if they're already world travelers, to pack accordingly. Fair question.
Okay, great. And Dana is wondering if your ships are accessible to power wheelchairs, and the same question about excursions.
So we have, thank you, Dana. It's a fair question too. We have folks that have mobility issues. Power wheelchairs might be something that would be a little more challenging because, as you can imagine, just like cars, they're all designed differently. Some are designed certainly to go through the standard door widths and whatnot. I always caution and also encourage advisors to have a frank discussion with folks that may have special needs with mobility. In Europe, you're talking cobblestone streets, castles built in 800, no ramps or elevators necessarily, but they're catching up. Yeah, they're getting there. On the ships themselves, folks that might have a walker or say a transport chair type of thing, they can typically only get to a couple of decks. Unless they can walk, they're not going to get to the sun deck. And then we do have lifts, though, elevators on all of the ships that get them to the important areas. They may not just be able to access like the sun deck or down in where the gym might be. Also be aware that sometimes we nest or spoon, depending how you look at it, with other ships in ports, depending on how the river authorities have scheduled the ships to be at different areas, and we have to go across a gangplank or gangway to get to that ship and then eventually into the port, for example. So be aware, if you've never been on a river cruise ship, there might be some challenges there. On the flip side, I'm always heartened when I see some folks that might be able to go and experience some of the different cruises, and they're going for it. They realize they may not be able to see 100% of everything that's offered, but I just love their attitudes and spirits, and it's motivating. What's next, Anna?
Okay, perfect. Marie is wondering what the currency used on board is.
The currency on board, typically euro, all throughout the European cruises. There's, of course, all the different credit cards available that they can use or whatnot. But again, on Emerald, maybe they're going to buy some drink packages or excursions unless you pre-book them. On Scenic, they're going to buy some maybe gift shop items or salon items. But, yep, it's euros for the most part. On Eclipse, it's USD, just as a side note.
Okay, perfect. And we do have a lot of people wondering where they can get all of the fantastic collateral in the videos that you had shown and played. So is there a way for them to do that?
Absolutely. So on the different agent portals, so emeraldwaterways.com and, of course, scenicusa.com, those are your two main websites you can go to for whatever brand you're looking at. Again, there's my contact information. Certainly feel free to email me. I'll send you video links and some different contact information as you need it. The trick with our brand, Anna, and for the advisors out there is a lot of folks, your first challenge is, I've never heard of Scenic. And even though we've been in the market for 6 years and been around as a company for 34 years, that's fair. You know, at one point, no one knew what Vegemite was. So this is one of those things that we trust our advisors to help reassure them and let them know about our company. And then, of course, we're here to support their business for additional things as it comes up. So presentations, groups, you name it, it's going to be one of the things that you have to overcome and then get into it as far as the fine details and the way we wow.
Okay, perfect. And you spoke about this sort of on the other end of the spectrum, but Cindy is wondering if children and teenagers are welcome on board.
It's basically 12 years on up. And I got to quote a friend of mine. I loved what he said. He said, you know, the ships are 400 feet long by about 40 feet wide. If my kids came on here within about 2 hours, I'd have anarchy. And he had like a 6 and 8 year old. So we have double occupancy only. And it's 12 years on up. You know, I was fortunate to go travel internationally as a teenager, 13 years old, and it certainly set my course for my career in life. And so I would hope that there would be some that travel with us. Just note that majority of the ship is going to be those 55 and up. So how that relate to the kids and, you know, what they're to do there, the excursions, the meals and things of that nature certainly are designed for the average guest.
Okay, perfect. And I'll try to bundle some of these questions together. We have a lot of people wondering if you have any insight on procedures due to COVID-19 and when lines will start sailing again.
Yeah, you know, I wish my crystal ball was not as foggy as it is. I absolutely do. Don't we all want to go just anywhere right now? And you guys have been amazing with the rebookings that you've got from, say, this season to next season and beyond. I can't thank you enough for all that support. As far as the procedures, and isn't that a moving needle? You know, our operations team is nearly weekly sending us updates of a new protocol or a new thing we're doing to ensure safety and cleanliness. And there's a little bit of a new learning curve, right, with this unknown factor. So we are absolutely on top of it. It's the most important thing you need to know. And most importantly to the guest, that's our number one concern, regardless of where we go, is their safety and health. So shortly, I'm sure we'll be announcing our exact protocols. I think just industry-wide, we all realize, we look at the airlines, the hotels, and what's happening right now, that's going to be something that's going to be a continuing conversation and updated on a regular basis. So we've got them covered, and we're going to stay on top of it even more so.
Okay, got it. And we just have a few more quick questions. Are there adjoining rooms?
Not on any of the ships, no. There's a double occupancy only. So if some folks are looking for, you know, the triples or quads type of thing, they can certainly book 2 different suites next to one another. So that you have a family. We've got a lot of folks that will have, you know, grandma and grandpa want to take the siblings and their wives and spouses and partners with them. So we'll get, you know, family groups of say 8, 12, etc. If they want, they will try to find space where they are all somewhat together. But as far as adjoining rooms or a door that goes through, we do not have that.
Okay, that makes sense. And our last question, Marie is wondering if dining times are set or if it's freedom dining.
Marie, thanks for bringing this question up. That's a terrific question. I should have mentioned it early on, but it's open seating. So there'll be certain dining hours. And again, itineraries and ships depends. Say typically it's going to be 6:30 to 8 type of thing. Open seating, so you can show up whenever you'd like. We have lots of guests that will come in, you know, half hour after dinner is started and have a couple of friends with them. I do that myself. You know, folks, I don't think can help it after a port talk. They tend to kind of stampede towards the dining venues, depending on where they're going. I happen to be one of the ones that will usually sit back and wait 15, 20 minutes with newfound friends or whatever it might be on board. But yeah, open seating, Marie. So that's always a nice thing to have.
Okay, perfect. And that wraps up our questions. So thank you everyone so much for joining us, and thank you, Mark, for all the wonderful information.
You're so welcome. And to the advisors out there, thank you for your past bookings. Certainly, thank you for your future bookings to come.
Bye, everyone. Have a good rest of your day.
Take care.